This is Chartreuse. You may not have heard of it, but it's been around for centuries, and it's gone up and down in popularity in that time, and even been featured in popular culture.
Chartreuse, the only liquor so good they named a color after it.
But right now, it's hard to get a hold of. When I heard that, I wanted to know why. But first, I needed to know what makes it so special.
It's the flavor that has me in and has me coming back to it so often. But with the story on top of that, I then get to go 1,000 layers deeper.
Chartreuse is steeped in mystery. It's made by the Carthusian monks in France from 130 herbs and plants, but only 2, sometimes 3 monks at any given time know the recipe. And the monks are sure not to let it slip. The order takes a vow of silence. The recipe came from a document given to the monks by a marshal of France in 1605. It had a list of plants and language about an elixir of long life. The monks worked on the recipe over years and first sold it as a medicine, but over centuries became a world-known brand. And recently, it's boomed again. It's
less than a decade, probably 8 years that it's been blowing up. In America, at least, and I believe I think that we were the creators of the renaissance of Chartreuse in cocktails.
Einbund says the pandemic helped too, as more people were consuming alcohol, which led to more demand. But the monks turned things on its head in 2021 by deciding not to keep up with that demand, in favor of concentrating on their religious practice. The company put all its markets on allocations, making it harder to get. But here in Ontario, the situation seems to be worse right now. At other liquor boards in Canada, you can get it. But at the LCBO, it's out of stock. That's because of a price problem. CBC spoke with someone with close knowledge of the situation. We've agreed to protect their identity for fear of reprisal from the LCBO. They explained that the LCBO and Chartreuse can't agree on a price. The LCBO says it has a long-standing policy that any product ordered be made available at a price that is equal to or lower than the price made available to any other government liquor board or government liquor purchasing body in Canada. This requirement is outlined in each purchase order fulfilled by suppliers and helps to ensure that retail prices in Ontario remain competitive. CBC's source says recently Chartreuse raised its prices, but made a deal with the SAQ for a lower price than the LCBO. That's led to a standstill with Chartreuse and the LCBO. To find out how that's affecting cocktail bars, we came here to Riviera in downtown Ottawa. Head bartender Stephen Flood showed us what Chartreuse can do by making one of the most popular cocktails containing it, the last word, and explains the taste.
Green Chartreuse is a little higher proof, and zingy is, I guess, the best word. I know it's kind of a vague word, but you do sense this sort of like bright, sharp, herbaceous note. Yellow Chartreuse is a little lower in alcohol, and it's a bit more honeyed, a little bit more mellow, but it also has those undernotes of herbaceousness.
Flood says because of the makeup of 130 elements, it's bound to bond to something in a cocktail, which makes it a huge weapon for a bartender, meaning the shortage is really being felt.
When we felt this was coming on, we stockpiled as much as we could. Right now we're down to what is in that gigantic bottle at the back. We've been pouring into smaller bottles, but that's going to run out pretty soon.
But before I go, I had to taste it for myself.
There's nothing quite like the first time you have Chartreuse.
Wow, there really is like nothing else.
No. Yeah.
Like that. It's very, very unique. I can see why you're sad to see it go.
But it isn't all bad news for everyone. Here at SFR Distillery in Canada, they've started making their own version of Chartreuse to help with the shortage.
We think we've done a pretty good job of coming close. In my personal opinion, we're about 85% of the way there.
But trying to capture a secret recipe can be a challenge.
I grabbed the only bottle that I could find over a year ago, and we've been smelling and tasting and working on it since. So After upwards of 18 test batches, we decided we were confident enough that we could release what we have, and we already know how we're going to up it again in our next batch.
The LCBO didn't answer direct questions about its dealings with Chartreuse, but said it continues to work with vendors to fulfill orders. However, it didn't give a timeline as to when you might see it on shelves again. We also reached out to Chartreuse's business arm, but haven't heard back yet. Natalia Goodwin, CBC News, Ottawa.